I cannot wait for the Star Nation documentary to come out in full. It's coming out soon, so stay eager. In the meantime, before we begin the King of the Beta tournament, we have the man himself who was there when Blizzard started, Mike Morhaime!
Hello, Sean.
Hello, Mike. How are you?
I'm doing great.
I understand the launch is going very well thus far.
It is. We're all very excited.
Well, I'm very eager to install single player because that is my reward for the end of this very long show.
You get multiplayer for free with that.
Yes! Now, I actually want to ask kind of what happened at the beginning of Starcraft I when someone came to a room and said, hey, you know what would be cool? Like, what was that like? Because, I mean, for so many people, it was they saw, you know, what Chris Seg2 was calling Orcs in space, seeing that, and then eventually Starcraft Brood War came out, and there wasn't as much connectedness on the internet as there is now. It's like, how was that first starting stage of Starcraft 1 like?
Well, I remember the meeting, actually. We had just, well, so in '94, our first Blizzard game was Warcraft, Orcs and Humans. And then the next year we did Warcraft II, Tides of Darkness.
Yeah. And
then, okay, what should we do next? And everybody was, all of our players out there were like, you guys should do Warcraft 3. And I remember, you know, we talked about it. Should we do Warcraft 3? Should we do something else? And the art team in particular was like, we want to draw something different. We don't want to draw Warcraft stuff anymore. Could we do something? We're like, okay, how about sci-fi? And they're like, okay, sci-fi sounds great. Okay, Starcraft. Awesome.
And that was it? It was just that easy? It's just like,
Pretty
we want to draw
much.
science fiction. Boom.
It was that easy in that meeting. And then we started making the game. And we started with the Warcraft 2 engine, and we started doing a space tile set. And then, well, actually, there were some other ideas that kind of got shot down. Should we do, like, there was an idea, should we just have the Orcs go to space? And we said, no, we're going to do something totally different. We talked about, well, should we maybe license something? Should we do a Star Wars craft game? You know, and batted that around. And ultimately, we decided, no, we'll make our own world. And the very first Consumer Electronics Show came around not long after that. And so we showed our new StarCraft game in the Warcraft 2 engine. And it was just a prototype, but everybody saw it, and they're like, that looks like Orcs in space. That doesn't look very interesting. So we came back and we're kind of like, oh, geez, you know, we really need to step it up. And so we redesigned the engine. We made all sorts of changes, and you know, and actually it was a lot of work to get to the StarCraft that we were ultimately proud of. Yeah.
Because I know, like in Warcraft 2, the Orcs and Humans are basically mirrored. They were the exact same. Then you introduced Asymmetry into StarCraft, which was like completely new for a lot of RTS games.
Yeah, when we were working on Warcraft 1 and 2, we really didn't think you could make an RTS game, have it be balanced, and have the sides be very different. So we were really careful about what we changed. But what we found was, if you only change a couple of things, you totally imbalance the game. You have to kind of change more than that. And so we just went the complete other direction and changed everything, and then tried to just make it so that it worked. And we got our inspiration from Magic the Gathering, which, you know, as you know, has 5 completely different colors. They play different, but we loved Magic, and they totally proved that you could do it. So we did.
And then, I mean, it exploded in terms of, like, the esports space, where really in Brood War, people considered it to be a perfectly balanced game. You know, like maybe Zerg was, you know, a little better than Protoss, a little better than Terran, was a little better than Zerg, but had that nice little triangular imbalance, and there was just like so many new strategies coming out, even like a decade after release. And then you went into StarCraft II. I mean, I asked Chris this, but I also want to get your take on it. Like, what was that starting development like? Because obviously it was really different from starting StarCraft 1. Now it's like, gosh, we have to live up to this legacy of esports.
Yeah, so, you know, we thought it would be really fun to watch the top players play, but we never really imagined that it would get so big. You know, I remember my first trip to Korea, and just the crowds just blew me away, and people were so into the game. It's so gratifying, you know, to work so hard on something and then have so many people kind of just get it and really appreciate all the attention to detail that went into the game. So, you know, we took a break from StarCraft. We worked on Warcraft 3. We did World of Warcraft. And so after Warcraft 3, everybody was kind of, you know, what are we going to do next? And, of course, this is our real-time strategy team at Blizzard. And so the natural choice was, okay, we should do StarCraft 2. So when we were thinking about, okay, because actually you have to understand, every time I visited Korea since StarCraft came out, I'd always get the same question, when's StarCraft 2 coming out?
Yeah.
So we decided, okay, well, when we do finally announce this game, we're going to do it in Korea. And so we held this big event, our Worldwide Invitational, and announced it there, and that was just amazingly awesome.
Well, now there's Heart of the Swarm coming out, and, you know, as StarCraft 2 kind of had the legacy of StarCraft 1 for Wings of Liberty, now that, you know, Heart of the Swarm is coming out, what is, like, one of the big things that you're, like, really excited about for the release coming out? Or was there, like, some sort of new, unique, like, issue that was different from when you went into Wings of Liberty?
For me, as a player, I'm just really excited to play it, and I love the ladder. I'm not very good,
But
as you know.
You're a ladder machine.
I play a lot of ladder. I'm getting better. But that's what I'm really looking forward to. I'm also really looking forward to what people think about the campaign. I think the team did an amazing job.
And the last question I have to ask, what was one of your favorite esports moments in Wings of Liberty? Because I've seen you at many an event. I've seen you tweet about you watching many an event. Was there one that really stuck out from the last 3 years?
I would have to say the GSL finals at 2011 BlizzCon, which, you know, there were some issues. We basically had this huge hall completely packed. People were sitting on the floors, and the match actually was delayed. They had some technical issue, and it was delayed probably 45 minutes to an hour, and everybody stayed and just waited and watched. And were you casting? You were casting. No, your brother was.
It was Nick and Dan. I remember they ran this documentary about Nick's life in Korea that, I mean, the production team was, like, on point. They were like, there's a delay? All right, run the video, and that went on.
And then it finished, and we were still waiting. But the match was great, and the crowd was just so into it. So, yeah, that was my favorite moment.
Awesome. Mike, I'd like to once again say, from all of us here, thanks so much for making StarCraft 2 and, of course, Heart of the Swarm. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Morhaime.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Now, coming up, I know that this is something that I was casting all last week. There's been a lot of buzz about it. The third, fourth place match in the finals of the King of the Beta tournament is coming up next, so stay tuned, because we're going to be watching some of the final casted games from the beta right now. See you then.